What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks in the NBA playoff streets. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whatever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Friday, not my best day in MLB, not my best day in the NBA streets, that's for sure. But we got that massive Dante DiVincenzo ladder across the board. That was a beautiful game 3 for us there. He ended up running it back. Well, actually, no, game 2 it was. Game 3, he ran it back. I didn't end up on it as much. All the numbers moved very, very harshly. And then they got completely obliterated here on Sunday, and I didn't bet a damn thing on it. And God, I couldn't be happier about that fact. I do have some Knicks futures that exist that I might have to be edging out of because, again, he's going to be the favorable side of that one here with no OG Anunoby. But we're not here to talk about that series. We got 2 other games here on tap. Boston, Cleveland running out of game 4. Very, very exciting for that one. And then a massive OKC Dallas basketball game coming off of a 2-1. Yeah, 2-1 lead now for Dallas coming off of that game 3 W. Kyrie Irving and PJ Washington. What is going on? We'll talk about him quite a bit here on this program. But first, check out BetMGM. We can look at that down below. But importantly enough, Odd Chopper. That's the name of the channel. And you can sign up for all of our great content over there, the OS premium tools, the Discord insider access. Basically, what is that? Well, you get the premium tools which show you positive EV, which show you the fantasy optimizer, that show you everything that we have in terms of the tools, the really, really important stuff here at Odd Chopper, as well as the Discord, where you can jump in and get my betting card every single Monday through Friday. And then if you use promo code Lindy, Lindy, 20% off right there on the screen. God, I hate that picture of me. But get those expert picks, get the Discord. Yeah, thank you, producer Jacob. I saw it. Anyway, now I'm feisty. Whatever, we got 2 games here in the association. Producer Jacob, hi, hello. I like you too. Let's get to the picks. It is beautiful times when you're betting Boston. Now, Boston has been on the card every single time. It has been sometimes in the like capacity, sometimes in the lock capacity, most of the time in the lock capacity. I've bet them every single game of every single spot. 2 of them look really dumb. The game 2s, they lose to Miami straight up, lose to Cleveland straight up. You know what they've done in the other 6? They've won by a lot. Like, they've covered everyone by an outrageous amount. Now, I'm going to reduce this one down to I only have a half unit on the 8. I knew this was going to change from 7.5 to 8. Maybe it gets back to 7.5, and I'm able to dabble a little play on that. I think you're going to have to wait for the Jared Allen news to be able to do that. But as such, I have half unit on it now. But let's talk through the process here a little bit first. First off, what a bounce back performance there by the Boston Celtics. Working through this box score, I got to watch half of this game, and the only half that mattered. The Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum back and forth. I'm curious, has Donovan Mitchell been the best player on the floor between both teams in this series so far? Because Donovan Mitchell offensively has been incredible. Now, he does play guard. It's not as valuable as being a big wing, especially come playoff time. He's not as valuable as what he does defensively compared to a Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. But my Lord, has he been efficient. 7 for 12 from 3, 12 for 22 from the field, 33 points. I think this is the time that I shy away from trying to short Donovan Mitchell like last time, where we ended up winning by the hook on 29.5. I saw some people got alternate number to 28.5. I ended up having one card that ended up having a 28.5 attached to it, which really sucked. But overall, everybody, like 90+% of the people, hit on that Donovan Mitchell lock, which was great. Moved our number, well, other than the other disaster that exists there. Other than that one, we are now up to 12-4 here in the lock department for the NBA playoffs, which is still phenomenal. And that counts the play-in tournament too. I want to be clear. I counted the play-in tournament. That was an absolute smash. But anywho, let's talk about my leans, likes, locks here. If it's your first time tuning in, I basically am giving you something I'm thinking about betting and really, really want to, or giving you context to it. Something I like that is generally a half unit play. I'll tell you if it isn't. And then a lock. Don't think of that as like, oh, it's absolutely stone cold lock going to happen. Again, it's a key search term. For me, I've changed that to mean a unit. That's generally what I've wanted it to be forever, a unit or more. Come 2-game NBA slates, that'll generally be, at my own discretion, something that it's like, hey, it's my favorite play from the game. It's a lock, but it'll be a half unit play. Just looks cleaner having the lean like lock. I always try to explain it. So if you listen to the analysis, that should take care of itself for you. Cool, great, grand, no yelling on the bus. To the lean we go. Peyton Pritchard over 7.5 points. Are we really starting there again? Now, I was working through the process on my sheet and looked at some of the previous games here. This was a lean at 6.5. At 6.5 for game 2. Didn't end up making the card there in that spot. And now it's at 7.5. And yet I'm more interested in it now than I was before. And here's why. We have seen minutes consolidated for this Celtics team. And Peyton Pritchard, he basically was like the only guy coming in off the bench outside of Sam Hauser. And Sam Hauser just played 10 minutes in that game 3. Why is that? Well, you come off of a game 2 loss, and Boston doesn't have the luxury to pack it in or to take it easy. It was one of those things where they needed to try to handle business there in that game 2. But as such, if Drew Holiday gets in foul trouble, if Derek White gets in foul trouble, or even with those situations, Peyton Pritchard might be the only bench player who plays more than 10 minutes, period, in this game 4 on the road. So I want to at least throw it out there that Sam Hauser, I think, is maybe more long for minutes in the event that Jared Allen's out there. They go to those Mobley-Allen lineups, and you have Cornette, Hauser, and they can't necessarily put Pritchard on the floor. But it's been pretty easy to do with some of the minutes on the Celtics side of things. We're talking Karis LeVert playing 30 minutes there off the bench. Sam Merrill played 11 minutes. Super easy to see Sam Merrill and Peyton Pritchard share a floor together. So for me, I don't want to pull the trigger on this right now, but it is sitting there with plus money now at plus 105. When I was looking at the 6.5 before, it was minus 120. I think it's kind of an all or nothing type thing. If you really want it, I think it just barely grades out as positive EV, but not going to be on my card at the moment. Now, this kind of set it all up. It'd be weird if I didn't have it. Number 1 in adjusted offense, 2nd in adjusted defense, 1st in overall adjusted net rating. That is the Boston Celtics. They're really, really good, and they've been running good too here in terms of injuries. They didn't have to face Jimmy Butler. They didn't have to face Terry Rozier in that Miami series, and now they haven't had to face Jared Allen one time in 3 games. Now, even if he shows up here in the game 4, I find it very hard to project him for more than 26 minutes with the severity, it sounds like, of this rib contusion. It is very, very difficult for me to want to look at anything here on the board and not just pull the trigger on Boston minus 8. Now, the only reason it's not the lock for today is because 7.5, I think, is in play if Jared Allen gets into this game. I think there will be some money that comes in, and I'll probably just dip my toes into that pool ahead of time. So feel pretty good about the 8. Bet them every single time. 4-2 against the spread. You can't really ask for, sorry, no, that's not correct. 6-2. There we go. I knew I had to double check that. 5 games in the last series, 3 in this one. 6-2 against the spread are the Boston Celtics in the NBA playoffs. Sure, I'll dabble for a half unit, and hopefully that number gets a little bit better. But your lock, friends, Darius Garland. I can't believe I'm actually going to recommend this one here, but Karis LeVert is playing more minutes. I do get a little bit nervous about that, but this is a full unit play for me. Now, I was hoping, and we'll get to that one in the next game, because we're going to be doing a little Dante DiVincenzo stuff with somebody who's better than Dante DiVincenzo, that's for sure. But I do think that this is worthy of a full unit play here, and it is just purely based on the minutes that I think we're going to be getting for a Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell here. Darius Garland has a left calf strain. He's going to play infinity minutes as long as he's out there, and I think there's no reason to believe that he won't be out there whatsoever. But Darius Garland has had to play a very prominent role in very important spots here for this team. And I think just working through some of the usage here in the last game, we saw what I was expecting, 22, 23% usage on the very, very least. And then you put him up to 38 minutes, like he played 37 minutes, 51 seconds to be exact. And then you have like a must win game 4 for Cleveland here before they would go back into Boston and have to pull off the impossible, which would be winning 3 straight against this team. No. If this is close and competitive, they will make all the minutes in all the land for Garland, for, well, not necessarily Strus, but Donovan Mitchell, and for Evan Mobley. They will play infinity minutes here in this spot, and 15.5 is the number. Feels a little bit low if you ask me. Minus 102 inside of minus 110, nearly even money. I've got him at 17.9 points, and that is like at a break-even number. So we're talking 15.5 points at basically no juice. Come on now. That is going to be a lock for me, my friends. My favorite play from this game, but not my favorite play for the day. We'll get to that next. But first, check out BetMGM down at the link below. you can get a first bet safety net up to $1,500. So basically what you do is you go down, you sign up at BetMGM and deposit. And when you play anything, whether that's 25 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, up to $1,500 on that first bet will come back to you in bonus bets if it loses. It's a great opportunity to take a big swing. Say you think Cleveland is going to be very, very competitive in that spot and you want to take a big plus money stand on them. Awesome, great, grand. You can do that. And if it doesn't hit, you get it back in bonus bets. So it really incentivizes you to take some of those big shot plus money shots. So take advantage of that. And most importantly, it gives you exposure to another sportsbook. So if you have DraftKings, FanDuel, you can shop for the best odds at BetMGM as well if it's available in your state. Only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. To the last game of the night, oh boy, I got something fun for you here. This is going to be a big one, and not just because if my this game is going on. If my Minnesota Timberwolves can find a way to take down this game 4, they have game 5, game 6, game 7. One more win between the 3 would be amazing. Again, don't want to get thinking too far in advance here, but Oklahoma City and Dallas, I would love to see this game. I would love to see this gridlocked to a piece. I really, really would, but I don't have a play or a lean on anything that has to do with backing one of these two teams. I think this is the perfectly efficient spread. 1.5. I think Oklahoma City should be favored a little bit more. On the flip side of it, when they're at OKC, they are the #1 team in the West for a reason, friends. There is no doubt that you work through everything there. Even with Luka Doncic looked a lot better. He's still laboring a little bit, but Kyrie Irving took over that fourth quarter. It was pretty incredible to watch. He is very good at the basketball, but PJ Washington, we got to start with him. Where in the absolute world did this come from? Now, Josh Giddey did get PJ Washington at the beginning of the assignments, and they just went after him. PJ Washington, a ballistic first quarter. I don't know if Josh Giddey even starts this next game, coming off of just 13 minutes there. Scored the ball decently well, was only a -1, but there is no doubt that that game got off to a wonky start with PJ Washington going ham. 27 points there for him, 5 for 12 from 3, 11 for 23 from the floor. And yeah, Josh Giddey, not necessarily going to be guarding PJ Washington here this time around, although just seems like a matchup where it's like, hey, you want to give him the corner 3, give him the corner 3, but don't play close closeout defense, let him burn by you. And then he's been knocking down shots here the last few games, so you have to kind of respect it at a certain point. Even if you're playing pickup ball at LA Fitness or, you know, at the Y, wherever you might play your pickup ball, friends. If somebody knocks down 2 or 3, you start getting in their face. It was a little weird to watch them just give PJ Washington wide open jumpers in that game 2. It continued a little bit in game 3 before they tightened it down a little bit, but still an amazing, amazing shot. Amazing performance by him. All that being said, I'm leaning towards the under 15.5 points here for him. I don't think that that's a very good number for it, considering, well, yeah, the usage has been there for this spot, but Oklahoma City's allowed to make adjustments. And if they do what I think they might do, and that is more Cason Wallace and more Aaron Wiggins, potentially not even starting Josh Giddey, this is an opportunity that they have to correct that problem, which is the PJ Washington defense that they played there in that game 3. Over 215 also starting to show up for me a little bit here. Didn't think that an over was necessarily going to be on my bingo card for this one. We had a 105-101 game there in game 3. Pretty low slugfest. We had the 119-110 wildness. Again, we've had some interesting games here for sure. Yeah, they ended up losing there as well. I find it to be a little bit appealing, 215 to basically take that over. But if they're going to make it more defensive centric, like OKC bringing in somebody for Josh Giddey play like 6 minutes, even maybe tops, there's a chance where I just don't want to be involved with that total as much. So just throwing it out there, something I was looking at. And plus I didn't have a total in the previous game either, but let's get to the like and lock section, because I think that this is the fun one. Dante DiVincenzo, again, when it comes to the postseason, we see a ramp up of minutes. What it really means is that the star players come out more in full force. And one of the things that we started to see at the end of that game, of the game 3, was Kyrie Irving taking over. Now, Oklahoma City put a lot of Jalen Williams as a primary defender, which is kind of freaky. It's a pretty big body. Guy can move pretty quick laterally, but Kyrie Irving was still creating space, still found ways to get to the basket, found ways to be open in the context of the offense. And I think Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, both of them amazing defenders, but Dort he's struggling a little bit here at times on the Luka assignment, like specifically when he's just flopping around like a carp out of water. But I do think that this is a spot where you want to start looking at Kyrie and start really analyzing this. I've kind of been the Kyrie whisperer from like a fantasy perspective over the course of these playoffs, been able to bet on him at the right times. And I think that this is the absolute right time. I don't think that there's really a cure to stopping both Luka and Kyrie Irving if Luka continues to get healthier as the series goes along. Again, which is kind of weird to say when somebody's playing freaking 40 minutes a night. He's played 43, 41, 41, 40, only 7 for 17 there, but 22, 15, and 5. It was really evident to me that Kyrie Irving come clutch time, that's somebody that they're willing to rely on here. And I think even though he went for 22 points there, we're looking at 22.5 as the primary number here. I think Kyrie Irving is due for a massive scoring output sooner rather than later. He averages 25.3 on the season. Again, he averaged 35.5 minutes per game during the regular season. So his baseline is already higher than we're looking at here. Tim Hardaway Jr., I don't think, even though we saw him play some good minutes off the bench in game 2, that this is going to be a series where he necessarily comes in and has tons of usage. He played okay last time around too, only 16 minutes though. You're going to get more low usage guys like the Derek Jones Jr.'s of the world who play 36 minutes and are out there to play tons of defense. PJ Washington, offense generally not his forte. I'm trimming off of the 27 points there. Everything is pointing me at 22.5 points for Kyrie in attachment to threes. I think one of the things that's going to end up happening for Oklahoma City is that they're going to sag back a little bit more potentially to try to help out in some of these. Again, the Giddey minutes are going to be a big question mark for me in this one, but I still think looking at the baseline, even though Oklahoma City, they've been, an up and pace team during the regular season, these totals, these are not the typical totals we've seen for Dallas OKC during the regular season because playoff time, you bring in your best defenders to play more minutes. So with Derek Jones Jr. on the one side, with more Dort, Case and Wallace, things of that nature, it's wild. But I am obsessed, yes, obsessed with combining Kyrie 2.5 threes with the over of 22.5 points for him. Yes, star players, generally not the best thing to be paying attention to. We've been on the right side of Donovan Mitchell twice. We've been on the right side of a lot of these other studs. And, well, I think we're going to continue to run good here. I think Kyrie goes for 30 as well. So I'm going to have some 3 threes attached to 30 points. So not quite the DiVincenzo where I knew, hey, 25 plus 5 threes. That was kind of a given where he's going to get to that mark. He's going to knock down a ton of them. I think he went for 7 in that game too, but that's beside the point. Kyrie Irving, 4 plus threes, 30 plus points as well. A nice attachment. We're going to ladder this one up a little bit, friends, similar to our friend Dante DiVincenzo. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks in the NBA streets. Head to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays here for Monday. Let's get back on track again. Friday, kind of a numbskull day on my part, that's for sure. Not my best performance for sure, but with the Dante DiVincenzo ladder, with a couple of these plays, the Boston locks that we've had at opportune times, it's been a really good time. Also, Minnesota, what were we even doing in that game 3? Hopefully, game 4, I'm going to tune in. Don't tell me a damn thing that just happened, Producer Jacob, because that game just got underway. He's giving me a weird smile. I don't know. Am I happy or am I sad? I'm happy. I'm sad. Until next time, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Monday.